All right. So let me check in all the places. I'm going to check inside circle. Make sure we're live there. We are. And then check in YouTube. Hey, everybody. What is today? Today is Thursday. I was going to say happy hump day, which makes no sense because it is Wednesday.
We've already made it.
I swear, since the year began, I have not known what day it is on most of the days. But
the time change you've had too.
Yes, which is, it's so funny. It just seems to be kicking everybody's butt this year more than it normally does. I mean, it does it every year, right? We fall forward and we spring back every year. So I don't know. This year, it just seems so much harder. So welcome, everyone. Welcome.
Hello.
Tell us how many episodes you've published, because we usually say, hey, where are you coming in from? But yeah, just tell us, hey, how many episodes have you published? And if the answer is 0, I feel like we ought to give you a prize because there's nothing wrong with that. We all had to start somewhere.
Got to start somewhere.
Absolutely. We are going to, if you've not been to one of our deep dives before, we're just going to wait a couple minutes and then we're going to do our full intro and get everything going.
Yeah.
Oops. Okay, here. Just making sure. All right. We're live in all the places. Okay.
Good.
How many episodes of your podcast have you published, Graham?
Oh, hundreds of mine. No, I have, because I do a lot of testing, I have some random podcasts out there on the internet that
did you actually submit them? No, but did you actually submit them?
Well, I did for one, because I had to get our help doc ready. I forgot I'd done it to Amazon, and it was there for about a year. No one listened.
Oh, I love that. Oh, yeah. I told you, when did we meet? I think Monday this week, that I'm going to come up with a new podcast that talks about local restaurants, just as an experiment to show how you would like start from 0 and then move your podcast through all the stages using Alitu. So I haven't run the show planner yet. So I need to do that today because I need the name.
Yeah, got to start with the name.
Yeah, I could. Well, I started with the content, like why I'm doing this show and like what I'm talking about, but the show planner will help me polish that up as well. But I'm terrible at coming up with names. My first podcast, I named after me. I called it Allegrativity Powercast because I thought that was cute because it was like a riff on my name. Yeah, nobody knew what that meant. It wasn't a great name. Hey, Dan.
Yeah, Dan. Episode 5. Great stuff. Oh, in Costa Rica. Wow, I'm jealous.
What is it? Vida Pura? I have a friend who's from California who lived in Costa Rica for 18 months, which was hysterical. Because I was pestering her every day. Send me pictures. She's like, it's the same gorgeous view every day. I was like, no, one day it's going to stink. Send me pictures every day until the weather stinks. It was beautiful. She absolutely loved it. Good morning, the host.
I like your name.
I was about to say, the host. Welcome. We have, just one more minute and we're going to go ahead and get started. We are going to, well, you can tell already that we're live. If you have questions, you can go ahead and queue them up, type them in now, and we'll just make sure that we grab them so that we answer them before the session is over. But if a question comes up while we're going through, just go ahead and throw that in there. Graham and I both have a line of sight to them, and we'll make sure that we answer all of them before we end today, because we're scheduled for probably 45 minutes worth of content. But if we run a little bit over, we're okay with that, and we hope you are too. We want to make sure we answer all the questions that we can. I actually had office hours last week, and somebody actually stumped me. I need to learn how to put music behind. Oh, you're going to be very happy. That's on my list of things to show. Looking for 23 episodes.
Yeah, 23. Wow. Good stuff, Caroline.
We're going to talk about that and some best practices on editing better. Let's see. Where's my timer? Okay. I have 5 afters. So are you ready? Shall we go ahead?
I am ready.
All right. Let's kick this off. Where did that come from? What would you be kicking? Why would you be kicking it? And what is it on that you're kicking it off? I don't know. But we're going to kick this off. I don't know. But thank you for joining us. This is one of our Alitu deep dive sessions for Alitu users where we answer a bunch of questions that you have submitted, as well as taking you through in real time how to use the software better. Because the objective here is for you to feel more confident after you attend that you can do everything it is that you need to do. And we're hoping a couple surprises that you didn't know will make your life even easier. We want you to be able to do all of those effortlessly when you get into Alitu. If you're editing your episode for 3 hours, that's not good. How long are you going to podcast if it takes you 3 hours to edit an episode, right? So we're absolutely hoping that we're going to be able to condense that for you. And Alitu is set up to do exactly that. So in case you don't know me from a previous episode, my name is Allegra, and I'm both our community manager for the IndiePod community, and I work in podcaster success. So if you chat in asking a question, it might be me. Joining me today is the inestimable Graham. Say hi, Graham.
Hello, everyone. And yeah, if you message during the UK time, you'll get me in chat. Well, and a little bit of America too.
I was going to say, even when the clocks have changed. Yeah. Yes, we were messing up appointments with each other this week because I forgot that the clocks were changing. So today what we're doing is we're doing a deep dive into editing. So we're going to cover the editor from like the top of its head to the bottom of its feet. And we're going to kick off with Graham sharing his screen and starting to work through the different aspects of the editor. Now, I'll just remind you in case of someone just joined us, if you have a question, go ahead and pop that in there. Okay, I'm just going and starring every question I see. So if you have a question, go ahead and pop that in there. I promise if we have not answered it as we go through, we will grab it at the end. So let me hush. Graham, take it away.
Well, so I'm sure most of you in the chat have already been in here since you've already done so many episodes, but just for anyone watching the replay that's brand new, I'll just go over some of the key functions. So most importantly, play button, so you can hear your audio. You can jump forward 10 seconds or jump back, or you can jump right to the end of the episode. Another handy little thing over here is the playback speed, because if you have an hour-and-a-half episode, you maybe want to speed it up so it doesn't take you so long. So you can choose to go, you can go 1.5 times, 2 times faster, depending on, well, I already talk quite fast, so I probably wouldn't go to 2, but it's super handy. And then, so here at the start, you're going to see the length of your episode. As you make edits and changes, that will also change, but it's really useful to know that if you start out with an hour recording, you'll see here by the end, okay, my episode's 30 minutes now. And then up here, the preferences button, there's a couple of things you can control. So we have 2 different waveforms. At the moment, this is the professional waveform. It just has a bit more detail. You can really see the audio. But if you like, and I do like it, you can just switch over to simple. And it's just a little bit more simple to look at. The other thing we have in the editor preferences, so by default, when you press play,
it's user-friendly interface.
Oh, can you actually hear my audio when it's playing or no? Allegra.
Sorry, I had muted my mic. Yes, I can hear your audio when you click play.
Okay, perfect. So normally the playhead will move across the screen.
It's user-friendly.
But if you go to preferences, switch it, save.
Face is easier to navigate.
Now it will move across the page rather than staying in the center. But it's really up to you if you have a preference. Okay, so you can see in the editor toolbar at the top here, we have, well, a lot more than we used to. We have plenty of amazing tools that you can use. Sorry, 1 second, getting ahead. The main thing you're going to want to do probably when you start is cut some audio out. And that's what it will be set to by default when you log in. So it's super simple to use. If you just have a listen, you see what you want to remove, and you can just click and drag. And then you can make any adjustments you want, again, just by clicking and dragging it. You can preview to see what it will sound like with your edit removed.
You need is an internet connection. It's user.
If you want to remove it, just click cancel. But when you're happy, click cut, and that's your edit made. And it will collapse because we've removed it from the audio. Okay, another new tool that we have is the mute button. And you can use this maybe if you've taken a big deep breath between words and you don't want to be that in the audio, or maybe a guest yawned, although that wouldn't be great. But if you wanted to remove that, just click mute. Same as the cut tool, drag it, make any adjustments you want, preview, and when you're happy, click mute. Another new feature that we have is the bleep tool. So this is useful if you're trying to keep your podcast PG and you have a guest that's got a little bit spicy. You can just click on bleep again, highlight the section you want to bleep out, make any adjustments, preview it, and then when you're happy, click bleep. And we actually have a lot of new tools recently. Since we last did this, we only had a couple of things up there, but silence is a new tool. So if you have a guest who you think is speaking too quickly, there's not enough pause between the words, just click the silence tool. Sorry, 1 second. Place the playhead where you want it. So I want it between these two words. Click silence, and then you can adjust it by using these plus or minus buttons, or again, you can just click and drag. And when you're happy, click add silence. And then probably, I would say, like, this is our most requested feature, is the clip tool. This is great. So if you have a part of your audio that you want to remove to do promo, use it on social medias, if your guest has given the quote of the episode, you're going to want to use the clip tool. So all you do again, highlight the section that you want, make any adjustments, and when you're happy, click export. Now, this will be saved to your library, so you can use it anywhere you want, download it to your device, but you can also choose to add it right to the start of your episode if you want it to be the teaser at the beginning. Click add. Yeah, you can find this clip in the library. Your episode will start with this clip as well. Do you think I missed anything there, Allegra, with those tools?
There was something that I was thinking about when you said before, and now, of course, I don't remember what it was. I think it was when you talked about the bleep.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I will just say, for any of the edits that you're making as you go along. Oh, I know,
Yeah.
because you said when you did the first cut, it collapsed, and you said that's because we removed it from your audio. But the way Alitu edits for you is it's not destructive editing, and you don't have to know what that means, like, technically. But let's say you changed your mind, right? If you click on the pencil that's on top of any of those edits, you don't have to live with it forever and ever. You can click on the pencil, you can change it. You can remove it if you decide to leave that audio in, but we collapse the audio editor, the waveform, so that what you see is a representation of what you're actually going to hear, right? So any edit that you make is not permanent. You can undo it, you can fix it again, anything that you'd like. So if you're at all nervous about making edits because you're thinking, oh, I cut that out, now I wanted it back, it's okay, you can get it back.
Yeah, exactly. So this is where you've muted. You can click that to make any changes. If you want to just remove it altogether, click restore and it'll go. Sorry, it's because I've already opened this. 1 second. Don't do what I do and have another tab open. We're here to tell you what not to do as well as what to do. But yeah, with your edit you've made, if you just click the pencil, it'll open up again and you can make any changes, cut it again, restore it. Easy, yeah. Don't worry, nothing is permanent.
Just like that. So you can't really hurt it. So I think that was great. Now, we did walk through each of those features pretty quickly. So again, if you have questions, pop them in there. I see 2 questions that actually, are you looking at our script? Because that's what I was about to talk about. Are y'all cheating? So yes, if you have any questions about what we have said already, just let us know. The other thing is, if you have made an edit and you think, oh, I didn't like that at all, you can also hit undo, right?
Yes,
so I just want you to, it's not exactly like your Word document, but it's similar to that in that this isn't surgery here, right? So if you need to undo something, you need to go back and re-edit it, you can do that. I hope that gives you a bit more confidence as well.
Yeah, for that edit I've just made, like Allegra said, if you go up here, click undo, it'll open it, and then press it again, and it's gone. Super easy.
I loved that. The other thing was when you talked about the time on the bottom, and it will show you how much time you have left versus what you started with. That's important as well when you're editing, because maybe you always want your episode to be 30 minutes long. And like Graham said, you start with 60 minutes, where you could see how much time you have taken out, because it will tell you the length of the file before you did your edits and the length of the file right now. So I want to make sure you notice that.
And mine has actually increased because I used the add a silence tool. So it was originally 220, but I added that silence. So now it's 222.
Cool.
So you can go up or down.
All right. Are you good for me to keep going?
Yes.
So what I'm going to talk about is splitting a file, the auto zoom in the preferences. I'm going to talk about the magic filters, the background music, right? But
Yeah.
before I talk about all of that, I want to just say very quickly, we have a clip genie, which is a super popular feature, and then we have the episode editor. And what we're covering today is the episode builder, rather. But let me tell you what the clip genie is for, right? So you'll understand when it might be appropriate to use one versus the other, because we get that question a lot. The clip genie is a specific tool that creates a voiceover. So if I want to create a custom intro for my podcast episode that talks about my guest or something that has happened in the world before my episode, I can take a short audio, just like a couple minutes of audio. I can add it into the clip builder, and then I add music. And then Clip Builder automatically lowers the volume of the music when it needs to, and then raises the volume of the music. So I determine in the Clip Genie, we have a separate video on that, in case you're wondering why I'm not showing that. I determine how much music there is before I start talking and how much music there is afterwards. And then Alitu's Clip Genie does the magic of raising and lowering the volume. If your music's too short, it loops it for you, but it has a very specific purpose to create a voice over. So your audio over music. That's what the Clip Genie is for. So you're creating an ad, a promo of some sort, a custom intro, whatever that might be. You can even create your intro in the Clip Genie and save it to the library, right?
Yeah.
Anything else you're doing where you're actually assembling your episode should be done in the episode builder, right? So Clip Genie, specific tool for one type of edit, and then the episode builder is everything else.
Yes.
Okay.
That's it.
All right. So let me pick my screen here. So I'm in a different episode, which I've created here. Please let me know you can see my screen.
Not yet. Have you added it to the stage?
I thought I did. Hold on. Oops. No. I was just keeping it a secret so nobody else could see it. So in this episode, the first thing that I'm going to talk about is splitting a file. Now, splitting a file is helpful if you want to cut your audio into different sections so that you can move them around and change the order, right? So Graham just gave you a hint before. If you export a clip into the library, we'll also say to you, hey, do you want to put that at the beginning of your episode? Because as you're editing, maybe you come up with the teaser that you want to use for that episode. So add it to your library so you can use it anywhere you like, but also we'll put it at the front of the episode for you so you don't have to split and then add that to the front. But if you're just trying to make an edit, you want to cut something, you don't split to do that. You only split if you want the audio you have to be in more than one piece so that you can insert something in between or change the order. We were working with someone last week who was using the split feature like edit. So he was like splitting it a bunch of times to try to edit something out. No, that's when you use the editor to cut it. So I'm going to go in here to this audio. And I'm going to split it. So the first thing I need to do is I need to place the playhead where I want to split the file. So I'm just going to say right here a little bit after 4 minutes. Okay. Then I click split. So it just reminds you that this is splitting your recording into two separate clips. The important thing for me to do is to name these because I can click right here and change the name. So I want this name to be Blue Sky, and then I want this to be self-care because I had two topics in this episode for pretend. Now, you cannot undo a split. We cannot undo a split, even if you ask really nicely and offer to buy us a puppy. So we will ask you to confirm the split before you make it because we cannot undo it. Let's pretend you split it and you're like, pooh, I didn't mean to do that. You can just delete that audio out of this episode and then re-upload the audio from your library and start over, right? So again, not completely destructive, but you cannot undo a split. So I've named the two resulting clips here, and I'm just going to go ahead and click split. So now you can see Alitu has two pieces, blue sky and self-care, and it's cleaning those up separately for me. Now I saw several questions in blue sky talking about show us the split function. Okay, so that is how split works. Let's see here. I'm just going to wait for those to finish
Yeah.
processing for just a moment. It's a short clip I recorded this morning. It's only 12
Yeah.
minutes long, so that shouldn't take too long.
So yeah, Dan was saying that. So he was wondering if we could have a tool where you could just insert a little audio instead of having to split if he has a guest that he wants to replace something with. But at the moment, you do have to split the files and add in that new audio. There isn't another way, is there?
Oh no, if he wants to add audio, if he wants the audio to be in the middle of the audio clip that exists, yes, you have to split it.
Yeah.
But for instance, if I added this audio, right? So when I first started this episode, there were two clips, the blue sky clip and this self-love or self-care split. I could just go ahead and drag and drop this around right now and change the order of this. So if you have this audio you want to add separately and you want that to be before the entire clip or after the entire clip, you can move that around. But yes, if you need that in the middle, then it does have to be split. Okay. Now I'm going to go in and take a look at this clip, and Graham, you can keep an eye if there's any other questions that pop up, because I'm totally ignoring that right now. So the last time we did this, which wasn't that long ago, we didn't even have any filters. Now we have two. So yes, these are both in beta. So what does that mean to you? It means we have tested the pudding out of them with both internal folks and our users, but it also means that it could from time to time do something weird. And if so, please let us know, because the team will take a look at it. And often they fix it in the same day that you tell us something has gone a little weird, right? But we have two filters here. We have unneeded silences and we have filler words. So unneeded silences. If there are long pauses in your audio, I once interviewed someone who took these like pregnant pauses a lot, partly because she was thinking about the question I asked her, but also because that was just kind of her speech pattern. There were like dramatic pauses, for lack of a better word, right? So if I wanted to remove all of those, I could just click here and turn that filter on and then click apply. And it's going to tell me you can adjust a magic filter cut by clicking the pencil, right? So I click that, I understand that. So you're going to see it went through this whole audio. All those pencils are now where Alitu removed pauses for me, long silences. And I know for a fact that there was a bunch in here because I kept stopping while I was recording because I had allergies and I was going to sneeze, right? So you may see more pencils, you may see less pencils. But as we said, if you want to go in and adjust any of them, all you need to do is click on the pencil. We auto zoom in to the section and you might think to yourself, oh, well, there's a bigger pause here than Alitu took out. All I have to do is grab the handle on one end and I can make the pause as long as I like. And then I just cut that extra second, right? If it puts in a pause and I didn't want it there, I can click again on the pencil and I can remove it. But this is a jump start, a head start, if you will, from Alitu to remove those long pauses. Now, the second filter that you might have peeked at is filler words, where we remove ums and ahs. Now, it is grayed out here in my file. How come, Allegra? You just said we could use filler words. Because if you hover here, it'll say none detected in this clip. I don't usually say ums and ahs because I've been doing this for a long time, but I was cracking up just this morning. Like, wait, why is this turned off? So if it's ever grayed out for you, it's because it didn't detect ums and ahs. So obviously it's not going to let you apply that filter when you don't need it.
Yeah.
Makes sense?
I do a lot of ums and ahs, so mine can be switched on.
Usually if I think to myself, I just stop talking. So usually for me, it would be a pause instead of an or an ah, because I just don't tend to say ah a lot. But you know what I wish it did? I wish it took out the word so, because I say that a lot. So what happens if, or so you meant, right? I say that more. All right, so I've applied those filters. I'm just going to cancel that because I'm not going to apply the other filter because I didn't need it. Okay, so are we good on filters?
Yes.
I can at any time. Let's say I did these the silence filter here and I'm like, you know what? I don't like that. I can go up here, turn the silence filter off, click apply filters again, and it removes all of them.
Yeah, not
Okay.
permanent.
Now you'll notice this pencil's still here because that's the one I edited. So it's going to leave that one in. It's removing the ones that Alitu added automatically. Make sense?
Makes sense.
Okay. Now we're going to take a look at background music, which someone had mentioned earlier. Now, background music is so new, you can still smell formula on this baby's breath. We just released background music, and we are so excited because we have been working on it for a while. Now, what does background music do? Now, I know Graham earlier showed you the bleep, where you could like bleep out a spicy word someone may have said. Background music works similarly in that you're going to apply a treatment to audio that exists. So let's say in the middle of my episode for, let's say I had an ad coming up and I wanted to make it obvious to my audience that what they were about to hear was different than my main episode. I could come right here, moving the playhead, and say, okay, this section, I want to put music behind it. So once I put the playhead where I want it to be, and I'm going to click in here just to zoom in a bit because I want a finer level of detail. So I'm going to move my playhead right there. Okay. So when I am where I want to put the background music, I click background music. Now it's wondering, which music do you want to use, Allegra? And I'm going to say, let's use this. Did you have a question?
Oh, I don't know if it's just for me, but your audio went a bit robotic, but maybe it's just my end.
Oh, Does everybody else, can you, do I sound like a robot to anybody else?
Yeah, can you let us know in the chat?
Because there's nothing showing here, and I have a great connection.
Oh, it got much better there. You're not robotic now, like a little bit of static, but much better.
Okay, that was weird. Remember last week when my headset did that? That is a little unusual.
Yeah.
But what you'll see is down here below my main audio and above this visual representation of my entire episode is this background music. So I think to myself, okay, I wanted that to be a little bit shorter. All I do is I can grab and move this. So if I wanted my background music to start a little bit earlier, I just slide this with my mouse and then drop it where I wanted it to start. And then I can drag this to make there be less music. So I want there to be background music just over this portion. Tell me if everybody's freaking out and waving their hands in the chat box because this is so cool. Because now I get to have background music just on this section of my audio. And do you see this here where it says volume 20%? Alitu does that automatically because as a rule, when you have something come in underneath your audio, you want the volume to be about 20% so you can still hear the audio, but hear a little bit of the music as well. Let's say you want them to hear more of that. Just click on volume and I can adjust this up or down so that the volume is higher or lower on the music. And Alitu automatically fades in and fades out for me. How cool is that? I could do that everywhere. So if I had a special tone, I talked to somebody last week who asks his guests a question, and if they answer in a way he doesn't like, he makes a weird sound effect. So I could add that sound effect as my background music, and I could place that anywhere I like in this episode by just clicking here and then going to background music and then clicking that little sound effect that I want. And then I make the adjustments again. Where do I want the background music to start? And then how long do I want it to last? I can slide that, and then that whole section has background music. One of the coolest things ever. I wish they had this when I started, right? So you can use this for adding background music. You can use this for adding sound effects, if you will, right? Because the bleep is just a bleep because like there was a curse. But suppose you want a different sound effect. Suppose you want crickets, whatever that is. As long as that sound is in your library and you can upload these sounds into your library, you can then add it to your episode through the episode builder.
Yeah.
Did that answer your question about adding background music? I think it was the host who asked. Was it the host or Dan? Somebody earlier asked that question.
I think it was the host, yeah. But also, everyone said you sound fine, so it must have been my headphones. You sound great.
Okay. Well, thank you. It is an allergy day. I appreciate that affirmation because it could not have been like that at all. All right. So then the next thing I want to show you is text editing. Now I'm going to save and exit out of here. because what will happen with text editing is you'll create a transcript of your audio, and then you can edit using the words. So right now I'm just going to click in here onto this blue sky segment of my audio. And in order to use my text editing down here, can you see my mouse down here? It says
Yep.
audio transcript. All I do is slide this from off to on. And when I slide that, Alitu is going to tell me it's transcribing. So this little segment is 4 minutes long. Shouldn't take that long. It's telling me there's about a minute left. If you have a 2-hour long episode, guess what's going to happen if you turn transcription on? It's going to transcribe the whole 2 hours, but that's going to take more than 1 minute. So we try to give you an estimate of how much time so you'll understand that we're working. But if you have a long file, just understand it takes longer to process. It's not like magical elves, right? There is tech working behind the scenes to put this together for you. So now you'll see I have words down here of what it is that I was saying in this podcast episode. If I want to edit using the text and I don't want to see the waveform at all, I can come over here and expand the transcript. See that thing that looks like it makes a full window? You know, like if you watch a video, you can go full screen. So if I expand transcript, then this entire section is the text for me to edit if I wanted to see just more than those 2 sentences. Now, how this works rather is, I'm not sure why I said you at the beginning of this clip, but I don't want that in there. So I'm just going to double click to select the text. And similar to when I was using the waveform, I can click preview because that's going to let me know what it sounds like once I've removed that word, or I'm just going to go ahead and cut that word out. On the waveform, we had those little arrows that showed you where edits had been made. Here, when you're using the text editor, it's this little, I don't know, is that a carrot? I'm going to have to figure out what I think this looks like, but it's this little red bracket that tells you that there's an edit there, right? So now I just removed the word you using the words. So I could say, you know what? I remember saying, I'm trying to think of something silly I may have said. I can search for words. So if I know I said a word, I can just type it there down here in the search bar, and it tells me I used that word 14 times. So then every instance where that word was used is now highlighted. So I can go in there and remove those. What I cannot do, because I know this question is forming, I cannot type Instagram here, and then the audio says Instagram instead of Twitter. In this first version of our text editor, we don't have the ability to add words in here in the way I just described. You can remove words, but you cannot change the word here and have the audio pretend that you said that instead. But it's a great way of editing very quickly. If you know you said something and you don't want to listen to your whole 2 hours to find it, you can just search for the term here. The second thing is, if I'm editing here and I think, oh, you know what? All right, so I'm going to take out Mastodon real quick. And then I'm going to say, oh, you know what? I really did want that to be in there. So I'm going to click back in here, and it's just like in the waveform. I can preview it, or I can click restore. So then the word that I removed is back. Right? Makes sense?
Yeah.
So that is how text editing works. Now, let's say I still want to see the waveform because I want to make a couple of tweaks, because there could be an instance where you remove the word here and a little artifact, like a little smidgen of the word, still exists when you listen to your episode. That is not a problem. You just shrink your transcript, because then what I'm looking at down here corresponds to what I'm looking at up here. So let me cut that out. So what I was looking at down here, when I click on it, the playhead moves to where I am in the waveform. So they're still connected to one another. It's just when I expand the transcript, I don't have to see the waveform, but they're still together, right? Now, I did talk to someone the other day who said he never listens to his whole episode before he publishes it, and that blew my mind. I would. Well, let me just say, I do. Because when you're using something that is technology, sometimes it will make a tweak that sounds different to my ear than it did like when it's looking at X's and O's. So I always listen to my episode all the way through before I hit publish. I'm just going to encourage you to do the same thing. Why do I do that? Because one time I didn't do that and I forgot to only use 15 seconds of my music in my intro. And I played the whole 3.5 minute long intro music before I started my episode. Um, when I published it, can you imagine how many people wanted to listen to 3.5 minutes of music before my episode? I can't because they quit. They didn't listen to it because that was a mistake on my part, which I would easily have caught if I had listened to my episode. So you can listen to it at 2 times the speed if you want, but just give it a quick listen before you publish to make sure that what you're publishing is what you meant to publish. I'm going to take a sip of water while I ask if you have any questions about splitting, filters, background music, or text editing.
So the host said, this is exactly how I do my editing via the transcription method. It's so helpful and fast for me.
Awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you can still ask questions, but what I do want to show you is if I come over here to my show settings, there's a transcription area here. Now, each Alitu account gets 12 hours of transcription included at no additional cost. So if I go here and click on transcription, it will tell me I have used 4 minutes of my transcription so far, right? Because that's what I just transcribed, 4 minutes of that episode. So it tells me I have 11 hours and 56 minutes left. If you run over the 12 hours and you think, oh, I didn't, for whatever was going on, you ran over the 12 hours and you still need to transcribe more audio before your month is up because your time rather rolls over with every fresh month, you can contact us in chat and we can add additional hours for you. It's just $1 per hour. And you can tell us, you'll say, hey, I want additional hours of transcription. Guess what we're going to say? Okay, how many hours would you like? And then we'll add those to your subscription for you. And then they'll stay on your subscription for as long as you like. So if you only want it for 1 month, after that 1 month, reach out and say, hey, I don't need those extra hours. And then we'll take them back off. Okay. But as you're going through the month, if you want to know where you are with your transcription, you don't have to reach out and ask in chat. You can just come to show settings and then go to transcription and it will tell you right here how many hours you have available and how many you have used. Now, while we're here, I will point out that we can auto detect. So if you podcasts in a language that is not English, we also auto detect Chinese, Dutch, Finnish, French, German, etc. So when you get your transcription, it will be in these languages that we auto detect. If there's another language that we do not say we auto detect, you can still select that by clicking here. All of these are the languages that we support, and then we have a bunch more that are currently in beta while the technology is being trained. So if you need one of those languages, you can go ahead and select one of our beta languages as well. Just understand that probably won't be as accurate as the languages that we fully support. Okay. All right. Did I forget anything about text editing or transcription, Graham?
I don't think so. Oh, the only thing I was thinking is I forgot it. When you're editing before you split, you can save your edited copy to the library just in case you split in the wrong place. So I don't think we showed if you go back to the editor.
Oh, okay. Let's see. Which episode was I playing in? This one. Okay. So if I come, so I've already split this one, but you're saying if I go over here, which I had not yet split, if I had made a bunch of edits in here, oops. Yeah. Okay. See, this is fascinating. So I'm glad I did that. So here, this is background music. Do you see that little lighter gray area right here? If I zoom in, you'll see it better, right? See how that's just starting to show the background music? I'm gonna, as I zoom in, you start to see more because this is the name of the background music. But when I clicked here, where there's background music, it said to me that I had to remove the background music if I wanted to edit. Why did it say that? Because if background music is applied, it's applied to the audio that's underneath there. So if you want to edit that, you just remove the background music, then make your edits, and then put the background music back. Because when you add the background music, we in essence glued it. That's not the technical term, but we attached it to the audio that's there. So you can't change the audio without changing the background music as well. Makes sense? Okay. Makes sense. But what you were saying was if I have made a bunch of edits here, so let's see, where was I? what was I doing? Oh, you wanted to show that you could save it to your library before you make your split. Okay.
Yeah.
So if I don't want to cut anything. Okay, let me get back out of there. Okay, so if I come here and I'm way down here, not where my background edits are. If I've made a bunch of other edits here, or I've turned on a filter, I can do that. I can make all these different edits, as many edits as I like. And then I can save this to my library so that if I split it in the wrong place, I don't have to redo my edits when I split.
Yeah.
Now, let me say this. If you have made edits and you split the file, your splits still will be in the split halves. So if I split this episode right here, these edits are going to be in the first half, and then these edits will exist in the second half. By saving it to your library before you split it, you're just, remember I said you couldn't undo the split, so you're just preventing that step where you would have to reload your audio again in case you split it in the wrong place.
Yeah.
Make sense?
Makes sense.
Okay. Okay, did I miss anything else? Or are we ready to open it up for questions?
I don't think there's anything else.
Okay, well, I am going to stop sharing this for just a moment in case we don't need it. Oh, wait, I see something. Is there noise reduction at some stage? That happened only when I'm finished. Okay, when you first upload, so if you are uploading audio that you recorded somewhere else, you'll probably notice that when you upload it, Alitu says processing, and it takes a couple minutes before you can actually edit that file. We are applying volume leveling, noise reduction, background noise reduction, all of those things while we're processing it. But we process it when you upload the audio, and then we process it again when you say build my episode. So once the file is in audio, I mean in Alitu, we do process it the minute it gets into Alitu, but then yes, we do final polishing at the end. If you record in Alitu, you'll also notice that if you record something, depending on how long it is, we'll also say processing there, because when the audio is created, we want to go out immediately on the raw audio and pick up anything that we notice immediately, right? And then at the end, when you do build my episode, it does that final polishing.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. I am scrolling back through these starred ones to make sure we got those. Some of the podcast guests don't speak great English, so I do 20 edits. Oh, I sometimes do about 20 edits in a 4-minute period, and sometimes your editing platform seems a bit overwhelmed. So it is not our platform that's slowing down, it's your browser. Because every time you make an edit, your browser has to save that. It is holding it in its hands for you. It's like you went shopping with someone and you're putting 20 things in the cart in less than 4 minutes, and they have to figure out how to hold all of them. So it is not that the platform's underwhelmed, it's just the conversation that's going on between the browser and our servers. But my secondary question to that would be, when you're saying you're doing 20 edits in a 4-minute period, are you doing edits that are right next to each other very quickly? Because if so, I would wonder why you didn't make one longer edit instead of the 20 short edits. So tell me a little bit more about the 20 edits in a 4-minute period, if I didn't answer that question for you. Okay, learn how to put music behind. We got that. We did the split. Can you insert an audio file? We talked about that. You need to split. We talked about the noise reduction. Is the video feature now available? Dun, 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 dun. Yes.
It is.
Usually when I get on here, I'm telling secrets and Graham's like looking aghast because he's like, what did she just say? But this time, what we're talking about is actually live right now. Video recording was turned on last week, and I think an email came out earlier this week to let you know. So we had added a video screen so that when you're talking to a guest, you can see them, just like in Zoom if you wanted to. So you can do that and only record the audio, because for some of us, it feels more natural. You know, you like conversation when you're looking at the person. But now, if you want to, you can click to record the audio or the audio and the video. And then if you have recorded video, when you look in your library later, you're going to see an icon that looks red. It looks similar to the YouTube icon. It's just kind of like the universal, there's a video here icon, and you'll be able to download your video. You cannot today edit the video in Alitu. You can edit that anywhere you like, but you can record it in Alitu and then download it and do what you will.
And we're working on video editing next, now that recording's out.
I was about to say, so if you ask us in chat, hey, what about video editing? Just know we're going to ask you, hey, what would you like that to be? Because legit, we are building it right now. So we want to know what you want to do with it. Because some people just wanted to add subtitles. Some people wanted to add a logo on the screen. Like, we really want to know what it is you want to do with the video. So we'll make sure we're building what you want.
Yeah. And so Dan said about the edits in a 4-minute period, he's saying the edits are very close to each other in the timeline because the guest's English isn't perfect. So I think it's a lot of edits close to one another.
Okay, so yeah, so that is still the browser. So what I'm going to say is a best practice whenever you're using Alitu. So for instance, Graham and I were laughing before we got on here because we were both closing all of our other browser windows, because I'll have like 27 open at one time, right? That's taxing on your browser. And because we always recommend you use Chrome, Alitu is optimized for Chrome. You're going to have the least problems and the best results if you use Chrome. However, if you have 27 Chrome browsers open, before you even try to record on Alitu, your browser is taxed to its limit. So what I will say is, if you can close anything that's stressing your browser, so close any other browser windows that you can, so that you just have the Alitu window open. If you have someone in your home and you're on Wi-Fi, so say you're not plugged directly into your modem, if there's someone in your home who might be, I don't know, streaming radio or video or playing a game, ask them to hold off until you finish recording. So just give yourself the strongest possible signal and your browser as much power as it can get, and you're going to have better results. But also, if you can make one bigger edit instead of 20 smaller edits, you're also going to see performance improvements there. Sometimes it's not possible based on how your guest is speaking. Half my episodes, I have a guest, and half I'm talking by myself. And when I am recording myself, I don't do a lot of editing on myself, because if I get tongue-tied while I'm talking, I stop talking, I clap, so I'll see a spike in the waveform, and then I just start the sentence over again, because it takes so much time to edit it and try to cut out the piece where I got tongue-tied and I giggled or whatever. It is simpler to just repeat the whole sentence, and then editing is super easy. I just remove the parts where I know I got twisted up, and then the rest of it is good audio. But I see the second part of your question, how do I put some of my old shows in files or create a file folder? So I'm going to show my screen again. And I'm going to come over here. I'm going to come to my library. So here in my library, at the very bottom, after it says upload and free music library, is new folder. I could create a new folder right here, and I'm going to say solo archive. I can name it anything I want, obviously. And then you'll see now there's no files here, but I could add them. So I can go to existing files in my library, and I can say, okay, let me go pick some files. So I can add, okay, yes, I know how to move files, got it. I don't know why it keeps showing me that thing. So I'm going to go back to my library here, and I'm going to say, all right, this was a solo recording. And I'm going to say these were solo recordings, right? And see here, it says move to folder. So I'm just going to click move to folder, and then it's going to say which folder. And I'm going to say solo archive. And now those files have been moved into this folder.
Yeah.
That's pretty simple, right? Go ahead, Graham.
And at the moment, we don't have folders on the My Episodes page, but it is a request to be able to sort the My Episodes page into folders.
Oh, I didn't know that. Okay. Well, you can absolutely add folders in your library if that helps. And the other thing that you can do, see how this file was recorded in 2024, but it's at the top of my listing, even above the ones I recorded today? That's because I pinned it. So do you see here? Well, sorry, I call it pinned, but it says it bookmarked this file. So if there's a file I use all the time and I don't want to have to search to page 7 in my library to find it, I can just bookmark it. So this file I know I'm going to use all the time, I bookmark it. Let's say this new intro, I know I'm going to use that one all the time. So I come down here and I just click to bookmark that file. So now you'll see those two files are at the top of my listing and easy for me to locate. So between bookmarking the files you want to use most often and then creating a folder where you can store the ones that you don't need to see, that should help you be a lot more organized.
Yeah, for sure.
I hope. Okay, the host let me know if I didn't answer all of those. Now, Dan, what will be interesting is if you use the filter for the ums and ahs. Remember the first magic filter I showed you? Um, he says multiply, then corrects himself to the word multiple. Okay. So my other question is, when he confuses the word, does it affect the audio? So let me say more about that. If I had a guest who cleared their throat, I'm not necessarily editing that out. If they coughed so loud you couldn't hear what I said while they were coughing, then I would take that out. But some of the things that we try to remove when we're editing, we don't really need to remove. I remember the first time I did not edit out myself giggling, because I giggle a lot, but it's just true. But the first time I didn't take it out, and I didn't mean to leave it in, but I actually got emails from my guests saying, "Oh my gosh, your laugh cracked me up." And I was like, "Wait, my what? I'm supposed to be all buttoned up and professional in my podcast," but they loved it because it sounded more human. So you are the best judge of how your podcast should sound, but some of the things that you might be trying to take out might not actually affect the quality of the listening. So think to yourself, if what is in your podcast adds to or removes from your audience's experience, like what's the goal of your podcast? So if what you're going to remove affects that, remove it. But if it doesn't, and it's taking you a lot more time to edit, maybe it doesn't have to come out. Now, I haven't heard this particular audio where he corrects himself a lot. So if he feels like, if you feel like he does that a lot, you may need to continue to do that. But some of them you might not need to leave out. So I see, how do I create a file folder? So I already answered that when I think.
Yeah.
Just let me know if that's not.
One that I
Okay.
wanted to answer is, I don't want to say your name wrong, Kak Stotty. You said, recorded 2 podcasts yesterday where the calls ended abruptly. Me and my co-host were both using the studio whilst logged in. Do you mean that you hadn't sent your co-host a link? You were both logged into Alitu? Because that would cause a problem if you were both logged in. But just let me know if you mean that you were both logged in or you had just sent him a guest link and it didn't work.
Yeah, the fact that he said co-host makes me think that person was logged into Alitu as well. You cannot
Yeah.
have 2 users. Well,
No.
obviously you can. It is not a good idea to have 2 users logged in at the same time because Alitu doesn't know who to pay attention to.
No, so you can just send a guest link to your co-host, so just one host.
Oh, I love that. Dan's like, by editing his answers, he sounds brilliant, but it's a lot of edits. Okay, and we all want our guests to sound brilliant. I get that. I just think sometimes we are so sensitive. So when I first started podcasting, I was always trying to cut out every breath because I have allergies. And sometimes I'm like, I said it today. I was like, I sound like a slee stack recording today. So I'm just going to apologize in advance. But guess what? I didn't sound like a slee stack to other people. So sometimes we worry about things that we don't need to worry about necessarily.
Yeah.
I've edited audio interviews I did where you can tell it has used background noise reduction and sounds great. How you can still occasionally hear it anyway to manually remove background noise. So I'm not sure what type of, let me first of all let y'all see what I was responding to. There is no way for you to go into Alitu and apply noise reduction in a specific targeted spot. What I will say is Alitu applies, they do their magic when you upload the audio, as I said earlier, and again, when you build the episode. If it's something it couldn't remove, it's likely that the automation could not remove it. For instance, it depends on the depth and the length of the background noise. So somebody recorded a podcast episode and they were sitting in their garage and their husband opened the garage door. Alitu can't take that out. I don't know what editor could, but Alitu's automation absolutely cannot remove the garage door opening. So if you had background noise and it dimmed a lot of it, but didn't remove all of it, it dimmed as much as it could, and it couldn't dim all of it. So we did a separate background session with Matthew, who is like the king of audio environments. So what I'd say is if you give that a quick peek, he gave great tips on how you protect your recording environment because as they say in the movies, garbage in, garbage out. So the better your recording environment is, the better your audio is going to be. So there's some things that you can't remove in post. And that's not just because Alitu is automated. Even an editor cannot remove everything that you put in your audio. So if you make sure your audio is as clean as possible, that's the best path. But no, we don't have manual removal. We have automatic removal. And if something remained, it means that Alitu couldn't get it out. Okay, were there any other questions? I know we're getting close to the top of the hour, but we're still here if you have any other questions. I think I got all of these. Just let me know if I missed anything. If not, you may not know this, but yes, if you come into chat, it's going to be me or Graham or Judy who answers you. So, yep, we're real live people. We do have people ask us if we're bots. We're not. Real live people answer your questions. But if you ever have a question, the easiest thing to do is to peek in the Help Center, which you can see right here on the left side of your navigation. Let me come back out here. So down here under Show Settings, you see Help Center. If you click on Help Center, it's going to take you to a whole library of tutorials and articles, which we update all the time, which will answer a lot of your questions. You can just hit the search box and look for what it is that you have a question about. Let's say that didn't work for you, right? The Help Center didn't have your answer. Then you can just go ahead and send us a question in chat. It is not manned 24 hours a day, but it is close. And we will get back to you as quickly as we can in the order that your chat was received. And if you're not still in Alitu Live when we send the message, it will go directly to your email. So to whatever email you use for your Alitu account, that's where the answer to your question will go. But in addition, on Tuesdays, we have office hours where as many people who like can show up and ask a question. You can ask your question and leave. You can ask your question and stay and learn from other people's questions. It's just your time with us live. And then on Thursdays and Fridays, we have a limited number of one-on-one sessions where you get 15 minutes one-on-one with one of us in order to work through your questions.
Yeah. So CAC asked, what is your number one tip for using the studio as a host?
What is it, Graham?
Well, we have a great article that has our best practices. I think, no, because really the best thing you can do is get your guests prepared ahead of time. Let them know that they should be on a computer, not a mobile device. They shouldn't be on a cell phone or an iPhone. Cell phone is an iPhone. You should use Chrome. They should always wear headphones. So yeah, we can find that article and send it to you because it has a lot of good tips.
I love that. We do have an article that's best practices for using the studio, but also my number one tip is headphones. Mm-hmm. Headphones will help cover a lot of ills, especially if you're not in the perfect environment. Like a lot of people, when they started podcasting, used to record in their walk-in closet because the clothes add buffering. It really makes a really cool studio. I'm just telling you, if you want to record in your walk-in closet, that's a great thing. But if you have an environment that's less than ideal, headphones help because the headphones help your microphone focus on what it is they're supposed to record. If you just sit down and you're using the microphone that's built into your computer and you don't have headphones, the microphone doesn't know. It's going to try to record every sound it hears in the room.
Yeah.
Right. So using an external mic and headphones, that's my number one tip, just in general.
Hopefully.
Okay. Anything else? We will have this recording live inside our free IndiePod community later today. Also, you'll be able to come back if you need to rewatch any pieces of it here in YouTube. And then we'll try to add it to an article in the Help Center as well, where we're trying to add all of our deep dives. So we've done a deep dive on hosting, distribution, editing. What was the other one we did? There's one. Oh, how you come up with the content for your podcast. That one was fun too. Yeah. We'll be doing another deep dive in a month or so, and you can help influence what that topic will be by asking us. Just send us a note in chat and say, I'd love a deep dive on background music. I'd love a deep dive on finding the music for my podcast, whatever it might be. Let us know. And we are happy to show up and help you feel more confident.
I'm just checking to see, have I managed to post the link there to the article?
Oh, no. Did you put it in YouTube or in StreamYard?
Oh, I think I put it in StreamYard. Oh, I sent it to you.
Oh, you sent it to me. Oh, where is it? I don't see it.
In private chat.
You sent it to me where? Oh, okay. All right, so let me grab that very quickly, and I will just pop that into YouTube.
Yeah.
There we go. Okay, there is the article on best practices for using the studio. Thank you
Yeah.
for being human beings who answer questions every day. Oh my gosh, thank you. That is awesome. You're very welcome. You think we were both logged in? Yeah, CAC. You need to be logged in one at a time. Please continue to have real, live, breathing people. We will.
Yeah,
We'll
I
keep
never.
breathing.
Sometimes people say, "Are you a robot?" And I think I don't know if that's a compliment or not. I don't think.
I'm choosing to see it as a compliment, but I do type really fast. So I'm just saying that I type so fast. They think, well, she couldn't have
Yeah.
typed that fast. That's why I don't want to think that like the way I talk sounds like a robot.
No, you sound human.
I've had that question more than one time though, so I'm starting to get a little bit sensitive. But yeah, I used to be a pianist, so I type really fast. But yeah, we're real people, and so is Judy. She's awesome. If you're ever on in like Hong Kong time zone, then that's Judy. Okay. Oh, ignore. Got it. Okay. Yes, please. I'll read that. Cool. Well, we're straight up at the hour. If you don't have any other questions, thank you for joining us. As I said, the
Yeah,
replay
thank
will be
you.
up in the community a little bit later, and we'll see you in about a month with a new topic. I know we talked about it yesterday, but as I sit here, do you remember what we were going to talk about next?
I think recording.
Oh, cool. Okay.
I think so.
Okay. Well, everybody have a glorious day. Thanks for being part of our Alitu family.
Yeah. Bye-bye.